Hey guys, Sebastian here from Signify again, and I'm super happy today to have Ellie on here from Sellers Funding, and we were happy enough to get to know Ellie and the whole team of Sellers Funding while we were at the West Palm Beach Powwow event, and we thought, hey, come on, let's invite Alex in here and give an overview when it comes to Sellers Funding. Financing, of course, businesses for both international as well US sellers. And I hope we can bring you some great information in here, how it's also working over there, of course, in the US. As well, we have Aishan in here. Hi, Aishan. She is now joining us in here with Signify as well as our partnership manager. And I think with this, Ellie, welcome. Aishan, welcome.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. Happy to be here.
Nice.
Hello.
All right. Ellie, from the standpoint of a seller, I mean, if we're talking about the funding, I just mentioned it briefly here right now. We're over here in Germany, we're spread all over Europe, but what about international sellers? Can you only fund US sellers or can you also do that internationally? And if so, for which sellers can you help with funding?
Yeah, it's a great question. We actually can work with anyone that has a business entity in the US, the UK, or Canada, and as well as Australia. Australia, we do have to have them be selling in the US. So as long as the business entity is in any of those four countries, we actually can service them. We're not quite there with Germany yet. We are working on that. But if you have a business entity in the UK and you live in Germany, we actually can either provide you financing or a daily advance.
US, UK, Australia, or
Canada.
Canada. All right. So, I mean, this sounds very, very much, of course, for a lot of European sellers over here who want to extend. I mean, many of them, they are already going with the pan-EU. They're going to the UK marketplace. But I see, of course, what's great for us over here is if we have a product that's selling very well, everybody's saying, go to the US market. And the market is like 10 times as large as ours over here. And we have quite a few who do actually go over and get started in the US. And fantastic.
We actually have multiple sellers that we know that once they do expand, not only in Amazon, in other countries, but across other platforms, that's when they really start to scale at an extraordinary rate. So we highly recommend it. And that's why we're able to help sellers in more than one currency and more than one country. We want to be able to support that expansion.
Yeah, I mean, the market is just huge. And if you have a chance to stand in there with your product and even get this into the US market, you'll need capital in order to produce. There's just a huge demand for lots of those products.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
when is actually a good point? Because I get this question every now and then as well. When is a good point to take on money? I mean, should you take money before you actually need it, or should you only get started to say, all right, I do know that I'll need to produce. I have a successful product already. I just want to scale up right now. And I think now is the time to take in money in order to multiply the production. Or what do you say? When is a good point?
So I do get this question a lot, and one of the first things that I always hear when we're talking about our services is, well, we don't need money right now. We'll need it for Q4, we'll need it for the
Yeah.
summer, for seasonal, for example. And that's great. You don't want to go into working capital debt unnecessarily. However, what I do always recommend is ensure that you know what partner you want to move forward with. If it's sellers funding, great. What you want to do is connect your token to our platform. We have full integration, so it takes about 5 minutes to connect. And once you actually connect, it takes a few days. It could be as little as 1 to 2 days to send an offer. When you're profitable, or when you're actually doing well, when you're trending upwards, or you have really good margins happening, that's the absolute best time to get an offer, not just from us, but from anyone. And the reason why is because you're going to get better rates, you'll get better terms, you'll get, you have the driver's seat, really. Whereas if you wait until the absolute last minute where you ran out of stock, where you have no idea how to launch your next product or how to fund the next PO that you need to pay, that's when it could be a little bit tighter and margins might not be the same, or the sales might not be the same. So the offer might be a little bit different. Not just with us. This is really just regular in the working capital world. So it's highly, highly important that when you're doing well, you don't think you need the money now, at least get an offer and be able to draw on that offer whenever you're ready to move forward.
Would you restrict how they spend the money?
No, we actually don't make them use it for inventory only, as some of our competitors do as well. You can use it for advertising, for marketing, for expansion of the team, expansion of an existing product or a new product. So as long as it's for the same business entity, we're not going to restrict what you're using the money for. So that's one of the most important things to keep in mind.
So same thing, if I want to spend part of the money, of course, not the whole thing, but onto better product images, better product videos, maybe SEO optimization, listing optimization, of course, PPC optimization as well as for PPC wouldn't be an issue. You can spend the money also on those topics. Of course, I mean,
Absolutely.
we should probably spend on products because that is what you need in order to sell.
Exactly. And, knowing what you want the money for is essential as well. So it's not just let me get an offer and see what happens, right? You want to have a plan as an entrepreneur of what is going to be my next step to be able to scale. Is it new images? Is it new videos? Is it more PPC? Having that maybe 6 month to 12-month plan will help you, because once you do move forward, it'll scale better. And it also helps our underwriters give you even a better offer, because our offers aren't cookie cutter, right? You're not just going to connect something and a machine is going to spit out an offer. We have a human element to it, as well as a proprietary logarithm or algorithm. So we want to make sure that we're looking at everything, not just what Amazon shows us, the whole story. And we want to make sure we get on a call with you and understand what is the purpose to use this working capital, and how will you use this to scale your business.
I mean, that's clear. Once you really, of course, you have a product running very successfully, you don't necessarily need to really worry about the image costs. But I see this, of course, for younger or for fresher starters who still say, the percentage of the volume for the images is still quite high. It's not like, you have the money just left over, but you can use it as well for improving your images and stuff. And that is amazing. I mean, to be honest, for me, also one of the important things is really, if you have a product that's selling well, you want to sell even better. I mean, make sure you have images. The images are, you see it yourself as a
consumer.
I mean, you're looking into the Amazon listings, and what do? I mean, I'm too lazy to read. I am looking at the images. I'm mostly buying through the images, unless, to be honest, I mean, even if it's a more expensive product, whether headsets for a couple €100 or a camera right now, I'm looking for a great one, because I'm not sure how great the picture here is. What do? I mean, you look at the images, you look at the reviews, and maybe you start reading. But again, images is one definitely super important point. One of the things, I don't know how it's over there in the US, but for me, it's popping up here in my email inbox all the time. Amazon is not coming. And I mean, Amazon is, of course, trying to take over everything and do everything on their own. And now they're, of course, also, not only now, for quite a while, they offer the Amazon lending. They try to offer money. And sometimes I can also see, of course, it is more difficult for service providers to say, well, how do I stand against the Amazon offer? But you have seen this, I guess, as well, the ANZ lending. How do you compare to them? Why should they go with you or with Amazon?
So we actually work in tandem with a lot of sellers that are using Amazon lending. We have people that have existing offers with Amazon lending, and they come to us to see what else we can offer. And we also have people that have existing loans with Amazon lending, and they want money in addition to. One thing that is really important to note with Amazon lending, they are backed by a bank. So because they're backed by a bank, they're going to be a little bit more risk, adverse, and they're going to maybe send an offer that's a little bit smaller or a little bit tighter. Sometimes their rates can be a little bit small. We're very, very close to their rates. But when we are just a tad bit larger, one thing to keep in mind is our flexibility. Amazon only offers between 6 to 12 months. It's an invitation only. However,
it's an invitation only.
Yes. Not many sellers can actually apply to it. It's just they'll get an offer automatically based on their sales. However, with us, you can not only can you apply, but we can go up to 24 months as a total. You can pay off early. So if you do have an APR-based product and you pay off early, you only pay the interest that you accrue up to that day. We offer 6 months of interest only. So those first 6 months, if you're buying it in inventory or anything of the nature, or you're using it for, let's say, advertising spend, you want to give it time to be able to perform, right? To get that revenue. So we're offering those first 6 months of only paying the interest. So it makes your payments more manageable, and it allows you to choose how long you want. You don't have to choose a full 6 months. So again, with that offer is very flexible. We allow you to do, let's say we send you $400,000, you can choose to do $200,000 today at 6 months with 1 month interest only. And then in 6 months later, you can draw the next amount with completely different terms. So you get to choose what's best for your business. So that's one of the top things that is different between us and Amazon lending, is the true flexibility that we offer.
Okay. Well, it does sound nice. And you said you're getting quite close to their terms or quite close to their rates, plus offer more flexibility.
Correct. And then in addition to APR, which is what Amazon lending sends is only APR offers. We can send
What's APR?
annual percentage rate. So it's an annual rate that we do over time, right?
Yeah.
And we also have an offer that's a percentage up front. So it's called our revenue advance. So we're able to also take that percentage up front rather than over time. So it's a flat rate, and your payments will be exactly the same every 2 weeks. However, one of the things to note with that one, we do not take a percentage of your sales as other of our partner or competitors do. So we don't take anything. We don't take equity. We don't take percentage of your sales. It's just a flat fee up front. And that way, if you're seasonal, for example, you know exactly how much your payments are going to be every 2 weeks. So again,
you just take literally only a percentage. You only take an interest on the debt.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's a flat fee up front.
Then, yeah.
It's not being taken over time. It's just upfront when we deposit the money.
I mean, I assume this works well for you, because if I'm informed well, I mean, Sellers Funding is one of the larger ones in the US. Feel free to brag a little bit about it. How large are you? Is it when you exist? How many people are working with Sellers Funding?
Yeah.
What are the typical customers for you? Is it usually just the beginners or just the top sellers? How flexible are you there?
So we've actually grown over 100%. I've been here a little over 2 years, and we've gone from about 40 something employees to over 200 employees today. Our growth has been amazing. You know, it's great to be a part of that. It's sometimes too quick, but it's very, very exciting to be a part of that. We've been able to see changes in our website, in our social media, in our marketing, in our entire system, right? And even our approach and our offerings have been able to evolve to be able to stay current with our e-com sellers. Our interest only period actually came about because of one of the events that we've attended in Las Vegas, Prosper. And we heard all the logistics and issues that were happening right during the pandemic. That's when we decided we need to do something that is more towards the e-com world, because that's what we work with. So that's one of the parts of us being flexible, is we hear what is going on in the e-commerce world, and we adjust to be able to help service what our clients are. And we don't only work with huge established brands. That's of course something that makes it easier and quicker to send offers. But if you're a new seller, all you need to do is have 6 months of sales. So as long as you've been selling for 6 months on a marketplace, not only Amazon.
Profitably, I assume. So you're checking that as well?
Sorry?
Profitably, I assume. So you're probably checking that as well?
We're gonna look typically between $20,000 to $25,000 in net sales for the past 3 months. Those are usually like a threshold. So each month for the past 3 months, having between 20 and 25,000 in net sales, and having overall 6 months of sales history is our absolute minimum floor. So we can start at in the US, we can start with $20,000. In the UK, we can start with £25,000. So that's where we start, and we can go all the way up to $5 million.
I think you directly touched the next point for me as well. Like, what are the base requirements? But I think you covered them pretty much right now already. It can be smaller sellers. Of course, the bigger it is, the easier it is to verify that, hey, the business is successful. Any more requirements in there that come for a seller?
Yeah, so one thing to note is that in addition to having regular working capital, we also offer cash management solutions. So we have something called the Daily Advance. It's exclusive to Amazon and Walmart for right now. And it basically allows you to, even if you're starting out, you can only be selling for 3 months, and we can start with you there for any of the marketplaces that we service. And basically it allows us to fund you every single day based on yesterday's sales. So what we'll do is look at whatever shipped net sales happened yesterday. We can advance you between 70 and 90% of that amount. So we leave a little bit of a buffer in case of returns and things of that nature, but you don't have to wait for Amazon or Walmart to pay you every 2 weeks, sometimes even longer when they decide to hold funds. So that's our cash management solution that ensures that you're going to have cash every single day to be able to reinvest, whether it's advertising or PPC or something of that nature. So that one has a smaller threshold of time. Again, we can start with just 3 months of sales.
Okay. You grew from 80 to 200. That was still a question in my mind. From 40 to over 200
Yeah,
people.
about 40 to over 200 people in just about 2 years.
In 2 years.
Yeah.
It seems like you're doing something right. I mean, if you're growing that hard, wow. Respect. That sounds great. And I mean, sellers funding, I have to admit, when I was over there, it seems like everybody knew sellers funding. And it seemed like you were, if I remember well, I mean, you were right in front, like right next to Gatita, right? You were first row with the biggest booth. I think
Yeah,
sellers
we
funding has made
actually,
itself a name.
so we actually didn't have a booth at that event. We were going to be at another event, so we decided to go and just talk to our sellers, lunch with sellers, and have dinner with our sellers, and it was great. We actually didn't have a booth at that one, but
Hold on.
usually too.
No. What do we meet at Gatita's booth?
Yeah, we met at Gatita.
Robbie, that one goes out to you. That wasn't their booth, but yeah. See, I mean, you left such an impression to me that I was like, "Hey, you had a booth there." No, you didn't. That was with Rob Stanley together.
Yep.
They had quite a few people still around there, wasn't it? Like 2 or 3 were right next to you then there.
Yeah, we had about 4 people from our team that attended.
Yeah. Why am I?
We're
Eventually, until now, I had the impression like, "Hey, you had your own booth."
we're Florida based, so we were only about an hour and a half from West Palm Beach, so we were able to take a few of our team members there.
That's maybe the way I should do it the next time with our booth. I'm just gonna stand the whole time around the Gatita booth, and they think it's ours.
Gatita's an awesome partner of ours as well.
Yeah, I can tell. I mean, just earlier I also chatted with Robbie. You're gonna be at the Sell and Scale as well, I assume, right?
Yes, we'll be in Vegas as well for that, and we do have a booth there.
Yeah, that is. And then we're gonna see each other, and I don't even know when it is, but it's coming up now in the next weeks. We'll be flying over and coming there as well with one of our ladies who just actually started in sales.
Awesome.
Nice.
Looking forward to meeting her.
You will, no worries. One of the other things still, misconceptions. Lots of people, I think they do have quite some misconceptions about funding. What do you see as the main common ones?
So one of the first things that people assume when they're going to actually have to take working capital is my business isn't doing well. I need money. But if you think of the largest corporations in the world, I mean, publicly held companies, they didn't get to where they are investing and reinvesting their own capital. You need capital to grow. That's just it's what the world is made out of, right? So you can't start a business with just $1,000 and hope that it's going to grow to the number that you're trying to achieve with that same amount, with the revenue that's coming out of it. You do need money to be able to do a very large growth. The other thing that we have is a misconception is that not only do people sometimes assume your business is in trouble and that's why I need money, is that it's bad. And debt isn't bad as long as it's used strategically. That's the most important, right? We talked earlier, having a plan is essential. So as long as you're strategic and you invest in the appropriate areas for your business, debt can be absolutely amazing for your business. And it actually has tax benefits as well. So that's why companies like, billion-dollar companies such as Apple actually leave their cash on hand and utilize working capital because of its tax benefits. So that's some of the things that we always tell sellers, like there's additional ways that you can save money just by taking on working capital. Another one is that it takes a long time. And nowadays, because we have direct API with Shopify, with eBay, with Amazon, with pretty much all of the major marketplaces, it takes 2 to 5 minutes to complete a registration and an application with us. from there, you can take 1 to 2 days to get an offer. If you're a large seller that's been selling for many years and are a very established brand, we usually ask for about a week because we'll review financials as well to ensure that we can offer the best offer. But, you know, between 1 to 5 days, you'll have an offer. And as soon as you have an offer, you can choose to go ahead and move forward with the money. Within a day, you can have the money in your bank account after you draw
That
money.
was the next. How long does it take? It takes like a day until you have the cash.
1 to 2 days, as long as you have all your documentation in place of the ownership. For example, we require
To calculate in about a week.
proof of ID, proof of address, and things like that. But the shortest
Nice.
time we've ever been able to send money somebody is from the moment they drew to the next day. It was 24 hours when they had the money in their account. So it really also depends on the seller having everything available and how quick they can answer the documentations that we'll need. But yeah, it's very quick.
Nice. All right, that's really good to hear. I think one of the, I don't know, misconceptions, or one of the things, of course, I mean, what would be needed definitely is a plan. Like you say, hey, I know my product is great. I know how to sell the product. I know how it's done profitable. And then, I mean, if you can grow, this is where money should come in. Like you say, you know, debt is bad. I personally, I come originally from the east part of Germany, so the former GDR, which doesn't exist today anymore, German Democratic Republic, under ex-Soviet countries. And, you know, there it's very often, it's like, oh no, save the money, don't spend and don't get any debt. But I think once you have understood, all right, the product is selling, it is selling well, you would need to have more money. Of course, to start growing, to start selling it, go for it. It takes sounds like a week with you to apply and to get the money.
Yep.
Thanks a lot for that. If you have one more hint, maybe for the starters, or for the ones who maybe come as the first time thinking about taking external money to grow, let us know. And then secondly, please also, what is the best way to get a hold of you, to get in contact with you, to apply?
So one of the things is that Q4 is coming up. I highly recommend that you start seeing what your plan is and how you want to make sure that you plan for Q4. I know that, you know, the inventory is taking much longer, not only from wherever you're sourcing, but it's also taking longer to connect it into the warehouses with Amazon and things like that. So ensure that you plan ahead, especially if you're looking to pay any inventory. Just go ahead and connect to our platform, just sellersfundingapp.com directly, or just sellersfunding.com. You get to apply there. And the other thing is that you can reach out to me at Alexandra at sellersfunding.com. And any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Fantastic.
Thank you very much for that. I hope this is of interest for some of the people, and your email inbox should be rolling.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Sebastian.
All right, I'll see you in Vegas.
Bye.